Hello everyone, I'm Tim from Tim's PC and I build custom PCs to suit anyone's needs or budget. I also live stream my builds and repairs for transparency and educational purposes. So if you would like to get an awesome new PC and you'd like to see it get put together live, send me a message today. Alright, so in today's video what we're going to cover is how to get a bit more performance out of our Intel i9 CPUs. So just a little bit of a backstory and a little bit of context for this video. So in my gaming PC here, I got an i9 9900K, but I've got a Ryzen 5000 series in my editing workstation. So I've got one of the strongest gaming CPUs in the market, and it's not in the PC with my 3080. But I thought, okay, well, you know, there's stuff that we can still do with an i9 9900K. So if you've got a 9900K or a 10900K, 9900KF, or any of the Intel chips that are overclockable, you might want to try this and just to see if you can extract every last bit of gaming performance out of those CPUs. So what we'll do to start with, I'm just gonna open this up. I'm gonna share my screen with you. Just a second, let me see that. Okay. So what we're going to do, we're going to open up CPU-Z. And we'll go over to bench. And we'll just run a quick bench on here because this is just, we're just going to look at the performance in CPU-Z in this video. We're not going to do a whole heap of gaming benchmarks or anything like that. This is just a simple test to gauge performance before and after. So we'll go bench, and so right now this is at stock clocks. We've got 16 threads going, so 8 cores, 16 threads, and here's our performance. There we go. So 552 and what's that? 55, 51. What I'll do is I'll save that. And now what we're going to do is we're going to get an overclock going on our i9. But to start off with, we're actually going to disable hyperthreading. And so what that'll do is it'll give us more overclocking headroom. So we're going to be able to achieve higher overclocks on our CPU just by turning this feature off. So if you're like me and you don't really need the 16 threads, you just want maximum gaming performance out of your Intel CPU, your Intel K CPU, I should say, then this is really what you want to do to fine-tune it, to get every last little bit of performance out of your CPU. Okay, so we're in here in the BIOS here. I've got an Aorus board. We're in advanced mode and we're on the tweaker tab here. So we can go down here and it's really simple. We just need to go to this advanced CPU settings. And we just want to go down here to hyperthreading technology. And we just want to disable that. We can leave everything else here because I'm going to show you how to tune an overclock on it for much better gaming performance through, what do you call it, Intel Extreme Tuning Utility. Spit it out, right? Everything else is fine here. So I've got our memory in here overclocked to 3600, and that's nice and stable at that, so nothing to worry about there. We'll just save and exit. Yep. So I think the best score I achieved for single thread was about 625. That was like the best case scenario. So we'll go much for muchness. So obviously we've got this. This is what we did before, and this is just one run. You know, if you want to do this legitimately, you run this like, you do this like 20 times, and then you average the results out and all that. This is just a quick sort of snapshot. I'm trying to make this video as quick as possible. So we'll go back in now, and we'll go back to CPU-Z. Because there can be a variance every time you run this. It doesn't just run the same every time. So let's run it again. So as you can see, that multi-core performance has dropped right off, because now it's just got 8 cores, 8 threads. But we can see that single core, just without overclocking or anything, we can see it's up. Not by much, just a little bit. Just a little bit, but it's definitely up while the other one went down. You can notice, you can see what sort of happened there. With it not using the hyper-threading technology, it's getting better performance per core, and that's more important when it comes to gaming performance, because a lot of it is based on a per core basis, not how well it does overall on all its cores. It cares about how each core works. Games usually utilize like up to 4 cores, so what you want is something with at least 4 cores that has really high clock speeds and really good performance on those cores. So that's the general rationale. That's why you see this single-threaded, multi-threaded test, and that's why the two are measured separately. Because you can sort of loosely think of single-threaded as gaming performance, and you can think of multi-threaded performance as video rendering performance. So now we can open up Intel Extreme Tuning Utility. Alright, so that's our quick baseline that we took. And so we are at default. Yep. So what I'll do is, just to give you a bit of a baseline value, because a lot of people who have not a 10900K, probably 10900K as well, but a lot of people have 9900Ks, run with pretty similar overclock settings to the basic tune that I'm going to put in here now. This is a 5 GHz all-core overclock, just keep pushing the cache ratio up just a little bit. Not everyone does that, but I found it stable on my CPU. And so we've just pushed it up to, this is just like a normal overclock that you would normally see if it was on 8 cores, 16 threads, just to show you how it sort of scales. So I'll run the bench again. So we can see that straight away, running at those higher clock speeds, we're seeing the multi-threaded performance pick up again. And look at the single-threaded performance has jumped up pretty considerably there. 587. And you can see our temperatures haven't been getting too hot here at all. So what that's telling me is that we've got a bit of headroom here. So what we'll do, I'll do this because I'm pretty sure I remember my settings. So what is recommended is you do things bit by bit, because your chip will be different to mine, so you can't just assume that the exact settings that I'm using are going to be right for you. So, and also another little point to note here, as soon as you adjust voltage, you're playing with fire, quite literally. So do this at your own risk. If you understand the risks with overclocking and you're doing it in a controlled and safe way, then go ahead, but do not push these values up too high and press apply, because bad things can happen. Okay, So I'm just putting a very, very minor overvolt in here. It's hardly anything. As you can see, the offset is 0.05 volts, and we're running core voltage half a volt. So not very much difference at all. And what we'll do now is we'll push it up to 51, and we will apply that. We will also put our AVX2 offset to 1, and we will enable thermal velocity boost, and we'll just turn up all these values to maximum here. For our cache can stay at probably 40, I think 49 I had cache for this. You should just be able to apply it now, and that should be it for the cache. We can just leave that alone now. So this is 51 or 5.1 gigahertz all cores with a very slight overvolt here. So make sure you watch those temperatures. So we can see here we got, this is like stock. Take a shot of that. Not stock. This is like a basic 5 gigahertz all core overclock that many people use. So let's run it again now. We've got 51 all cores. Tantalizingly close to the 600 there. So we're not quite there yet. We're not quite in Ryzen 5000 series territory yet, but maybe we can get there. Maybe we can get there. Alright, so we didn't quite get to 600. Now we got 52, and we've got a slightly larger overvolt, not too much, nothing crazy. Now we've cracked the 600 mark. So 608, and we should be able to push it just a little bit further. Let's just make sure that that's right, and I'm going to load the profile. Okay, that's looking good. AVX offset is correct. 1.5 and 6. Okay. Slightly overvolted there. So now let's give this another hit. That was strange, it spiked up to like 621 at first. I wonder what got in the way there. Shall we run it again? There we go. There you have it. So that is right within striking distance of Ryzen 5000 right there. And you might be like, okay, Tim, but how stable is this? What have you done to test this? So I'll show you. If we'll go and do a Cinebench run. So obviously, Cinebench workload's not the kind of thing that we're typically going to do with this. But what we can do is we can fire up a couple of games, like some more CPU intensive games, like Shadow of the Tomb Raider at 1080p. It's a bit CPU intensive at times. Fire up Need for Speed. But I don't think we really have to. I think you get the idea that I have tested it, and I've ran Cinebench for over an hour and didn't have any problems with it. Played a few different games on it, no issues. We'll be getting pretty warm, but not like out of hand. 85 degrees on an i9 Cinebench, 5.3 gigahertz all-core overclock, hyper-threading off. That's pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that performance. So if you're so if you've got an i9 9900K or similar, and you've been looking at Ryzen 5000, and you've been like going, oh, do I upgrade? I'd like to get that bit of extra performance. Maybe you just need to tune your overclock. Maybe it's really that simple for you. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Bye for now.